Oh my goodness, we're rolling right through February. It's the second Tuesday in February. What better way to kick that off than another edition of the 2-2 Podcast? Listen, I'm so glad and grateful to be a part of your Tuesday. Listen, today's episode is going to be really great. I don't say that for all of them, but I believe that this is going to be pretty fun. We're continuing our series entitled Unbothered, our month-long series to be exact, with a message that I've been waiting to give for a while. So, that being said, you know the move. Grab your friends, grab your family, grab your coworkers, grab those people you don't like. Don't forget that notebook and iPad. See you in a minute. Have you ever wanted to record a podcast but didn't know the way? Well, I've got good news. Let me tell you about something. It's called Anchor. And Anchor is the easiest way to record a podcast. Let me explain. It's absolutely free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. And it's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So here's what I need you to do. Please download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's episode. Before we get into today's talk, I wanted to talk about two things that I really stand on. The first being stirring up the gift that God has given me. Whether that's through podcasting, whether that's through coaching, through public speaking, through writing, basic graphic design. I always want to do something that stirs up the gift. And I do not take the gifts that God has given me lightly. Nobody should. It's not a good idea to. But I'm forever grateful to have these gifts and to be able to do that. And like I said, refuse to take it lightly. Will not take it lightly going into the expansion of all things 2-2 in the near future, because there will be expansion. There will be greater opportunities outside of podcasting to help other people. And I am excited about those opportunities really, really soon. So look out for that. But the second thing that I stand on is celebrating the small victories. Me and a old friend of mine used to say something to each other, and it was an acronym. It wasn't really an acronym. It was just 4 letters. SVPC. Small victories produce championships. You've heard me mention this before on this podcast, and it's something that I really stand upon very often. I like to celebrate the small wins, no matter what that is. It's very exciting to celebrate those small wins, because those small wins build up into big wins. And it's exciting. And no matter what you're doing, this is my advice to somebody that's getting started in something, whether it's podcasting, whether it's learning to speak in front of people, whether it's writing a book, whether it's coaching, whether it's starting a business, whatever, celebrate those small wins. There are some people out here that refuse to celebrate the small wins, so they can't handle the big wins properly. They pass over the small wins, so they celebrate. So when it comes time to celebrate the big wins, they haven't been able to handle being celebratory, so they will fumble a chance to celebrate the small wins. And how do you celebrate those small wins? You acknowledge the people that were that are part of these wins. You acknowledge the milestones, the small milestones as well. That's how you do it. Celebrate those people that are a part of those wins, that have been a part of the highs and the lows, the ups and the downs, the good and the bad. And we're going to do that. I've said all that to say this, that we have amassed 3,100 total plays right here on the 2-2 podcast. I know recently we just celebrated 3,000, and I'm grateful for that, but we have amassed 3,100 that quickly. It goes to show that the impact of stirring up a gift and celebrating the small wins is by far an amazing, amazing thing to do. And so with that, I thank you all for all of your unending support of the 2-2 podcast. This started off as, as an opportunity to share some of the stuff that I often talk about when I do public speaking, and put it in podcast form. Or the opportunity to share some of the things that I discuss with students, especially young black males, between grades 4 through 9. It's my opportunity to do that each and every day. And listen, it's great. It's great to do this. And so with that being said, thank you. I got to thank all of my podcast family, High T Podcast, Poppin' After 30, Kayla Got the 411, just all my friends, just everybody that podcast, all my friends and family that are in streaming and that are in graphic design, that are in coaching, everybody that are that have been a part of the highs and lows, the ups and downs. But we are on our way up, and let's keep this thing rolling. So again, thank you to all of you who listen and all of you that support the 2-2 podcast. I couldn't do this without you. Wait till you see what's next. All right. Now that we got that part done, let's get to work. So, I have a question for all of you. I've got a couple questions. Well, a few questions. Let's give. Anytime I say I have a question, it's gonna end up being like 2 or 3. But here we go. 1. How do you protect your energy? How do you protect your energy? What does it mean? Actually, what does it mean to protect your energy? How do you protect your energy? And if you don't, what necessary steps will you take to protect your energy in the future? What does it mean? How do you do it? And if you don't, what will you do to do it now? We're not talking about why you don't. I want to know what you will do to do it from this point on. We often want to ask people, why don't you? And sometimes asking that question can be very triggering and sometimes hard to answer. Because oftentimes it goes back, like some of the reasons why our guard is down and our energy is low stems from situations that happened in the past. Whatever that may be, it oftentimes stems from a situation that happened in our past that we often suppressed, compressed, and pushed in the back of our mind. And so, and then another reason is that we can oftentimes be a little too trusting. We can be too trusting. If we are not strong mentally, we can be a little too trusting with people. We can and oftentimes when we're too trusting and we let our guard down, When that person does something to our trust, betrays, when that person betrays our trust, it often destroys us to the point that we have to go it takes a long time for us to rebuild from where we were to build from. Well, sometimes we have to build from the ground up all over again. When our resistance level is down and our trust, our walls are down, and we become too trusting. It happens, and in rebuilding from a place where your trust has been betrayed, it sucks. But eventually you have to, instead of shutting down, which so many times in my life I've completely shut down because somebody hurt me. And I mean shut down because somebody hurt me. Or somebody, betrayed my trust. Shut down. I'll tell you a story. I was dating a young lady. This was in college. And I thought things were going well. Things were going all right. I thought, and you've heard me tell this story before. I hope you have. I might have told this story before. If not, you're hearing it for the first time. If not, if I have told this story before, pretend you've heard it for the first time. If I haven't, you're hearing this for the first time. But I was in college. I was dating this young lady, and I thought everything was going well. Everything was all right. We were dating. We were going places. We were hanging out. We were, we were doing well. And this is before I understood the value of having that conversation about where do we go from here? What are we doing from here? What's next? This is before we had this conversation with people. Or before I had this conversation with anybody. And before I knew about the value of protecting my own energy. And building walls and not being so trusting. I was dating this, like I said, dating. Everything was going well. And all of a sudden, she broke up with me. It's out of the blue. No discussion. Nothing. Not a thing. No reason why. Only to find out later on that she was cheating on me. But I didn't find out that she was cheating on me until later. Until all of the damage had been done. My resistance levels were down so low. My walls were down so low. My energy level was down so low that I got sick. And when I say sick, you show of hands. No, you can't see me. I can't see you. Have you ever been so stressed out about a situation in your life that you started to lose weight? There are pictures of me, and I will put a picture of me around that time when I got so sick because of depression and anxiety and just mental stress that I lost about 31 pounds, between 30 to 32 pounds. At the time, I was active. I was working out. I was in the gym. I was, was active. I was having fun. I'm a sophomore in college, eating everything and not gaining weight. I was at a comfortable 160 some pounds at the time. And the stress sickness dropped me down to the lowest weight I had been since I was a freshman in high school. I allowed a situation to drain me of my energy. I allowed a situation that I had no control, that I thought I had some type of control over, drain my energy. And drain my and cause me to become stressed out and sick. Like I said, once I find that picture, I'm going to put it on Instagram. I've put it on Instagram before. It was a couple years ago where I was telling a story. But I believe now this really, as I'm talking about protecting your energy, this fits into this situation. It took me a long time to really get back what I needed to get back. That's when I started to understand the process. But there's a difference between understanding something and implementation of such practice. Implementation of the practice is what I mean. I know that kind of sounded like it didn't make sense, but there's a difference between understanding. A lot of people understand, but a lot of people won't apply. A lot of people say they understand, but they do not apply what they understand. So-called understand is what I'm saying. And so there was a period in my life where I had to go, look, I have to go from saying I understand to actually doing it. Actions speak louder than words. I don't want to just keep talking about it. I wanted to be about it. I wanted to see the change that I understood, that I heard about. I wanted to see the healing that I heard so much about, that I sang about, that I danced about, that I prayed, that I prayed with others for theirs. But have you ever been in a situation? And I know I'm going on a bit of a tangent that may or may not go with what I'm talking about. But have you ever been in a situation? I saw a tweet about this, where you had to give a speech to somebody, a motivational speech, and you were broken, you were damaged, you were hurting, you were in pain. You were praying for somebody else's healing, but you were hurting, you were damaged, you were in pain, but you were scared to ask anybody for prayer because you wanted everybody to look to you for it. You helped everybody else with their confidence and helped everybody keep their same energy and to protect their energy. But in the same breath, you didn't do the necessary things to protect your own. You were Superman. You were Superwoman to others. But you didn't do the necessary things to address Clark Kent. You were Superman, but you didn't address Clark Kent. I was in that place where it took me years to go from understanding to implementation. What does this have to do with protecting your energy? I'm glad you asked. Because you have to get to a point where you go from awareness and understanding to implementation and consistency. Implement and apply and be consistent about doing the necessary things to protect your energy, to protect your mind, protect your sanity, to protect your peace, to protect your joy, to protect your... Do the necessary things. And if that means having to do this, block people in real life. See, we block a lot of people on social media, but we never block them in real life. Talk to them, Stevens. I think I will. Second one of 2021. I ain't said it in a while. I think I'll say it again. Talk to them, Stevens. Here we go. We have a tendency to talk about we got a block list on Facebook and a block list on Instagram and a block list on Twitter. We got a block list on every social media platform. But how many people can say to me And how many people can raise their hand and say, I block people in real life? Ain't no need to block people just on social media. I block people in real life. And when I learned how to block people in real life, that really means, what it means to me to block people in real life is I'm not letting you back in. All I got to do is hit a button on Facebook and Instagram. No, I'm not doing that in real life. There is no button in real life. I'm not letting you back in. Once you've hurt me, once you've done something to try to drain my energy, to take away the peace I have in my mind, and the peace I have in my heart, and once you've broken my trust, there is no unblock button in my life. Unless God tells me to, you can't come back. In order to protect my energy in 2021, I have to learn the value of blocking people in real life. Whatever that may be. If you gotta tell them, so be it. If you just gotta go on and just do it without explanation, then do it. Because I'm in the season of keeping my same energy and protecting the energy that I have. And I'm in the season of being around people who are positive, who are uplifting, who help me accountable to make sure that I'm doing the necessary things in 2021 and beyond that I didn't do last year and the year before that and the year before that. I'm protecting my energy in 2021. I don't have time to be around people who gossip all the time and talk about other people all the time and make fun of people all the time. I don't have time to be around that. I don't have time to be around people who are negative about a situation. I was on Twitter today, preparing for this show. I was on Twitter today, early this morning, and the first thing that popped up on my timeline was there's a young lady who got accepted to 50 colleges, 50 of them. There was a bunch of them. Penn State, bunch of HBCUs. Penn, a bunch of Ivy Leagues. It was just, PWIs, HBCUs, Ivy Leagues, all of that. She got accepted to 50 schools, and maybe it's more. Maybe that's all she wanted to say at the moment. She got accepted to 50 schools. There's a blessing in that because she worked hard for that. She did the necessary things to do to get in those schools. She passed her, and she did well on her ACT. She did well on her SAT. Her GPA is great. She went the extra mile to improve and become the student that she is today, that has got accepted to 50 or maybe 50 plus colleges in this country. A young black woman. And some people celebrated for her the fact that she made this achievement of being accepted to that many schools. But there are some people, and this is the horrible thing about Twitter sometimes, and a horrible thing about social media. And this is what happens in real life. There are some people that will never be happy for what you do. Will never be happy about what you do and what you accomplish. No matter what age you are, there will always be people around you, whether you know them or not, that are jealous of what you do and what you've accomplished. And that was prevalent on Twitter this morning. Instead of celebrating her success, they wanted to talk about all the fees that she would owe. She got accepted to 50 schools on scholarship. On scholarship. When you do well enough, people will come to you. She worked hard. And all people wanted to talk about was fees. And before anybody jumps on my timeline, and before anybody jumps on my case talking about, well, you need to be more realistic. She needs to learn about the real world and all this stuff and this, that, and the third. That may be true. But in this moment, you had two options: to celebrate that and pray for her success, or to be cynical and be pessimistic and talk about the fees that she has to owe, and this, that, and the third, and talk about all the negatives. And we need to understand that there are some things that we need to do in order to make sure that we are successful. We need to understand that. But in this very moment, we should have been celebrating that young lady. And so I applaud her for all that she accomplished. To have 50 schools, maybe more. And I pray that more hit her up and more offer her scholarships. Abundant blessing. Overwhelming, overflowing blessing for her life. Anybody that's been in a situation where you've had people around you that want to suck your energy and drain you of your energy by being pessimistic, by only seeing the glass half empty, that don't want to see the brighter side of things because they would rather point out the negative things first. They'd rather be cynical than celebratory. This is for anybody that's had that. This isn't just about this young lady. This is for anybody. Right now, I wanted to say that to prove a point, to give an example of how people in our lives will not celebrate, but they will drain the energy, the positive energy that we have in a room. Have you ever been in a room with somebody who drains the energy from the room itself? They walk in and the mood changes. They walk in and the joy, the level changes. The peace changes. Have you ever been in a situation where your attitude has completely gone downhill because of one person walking into a room, or you walking into a room with that same person? Have you ever been in? See, because we can feel other people. People can feel other people's energy. People can feel people's energy and tell that they're negative. People can feel other people's energy and tell that they're positive. People can feel other people's energy and tell not to mess with somebody. But have you ever been in a situation where you had somebody around you that wanted to talk about talk about the things that you talk about, all the negative, and they won't celebrate it? Have you, what you haven't accomplished and what you haven't done and what you did, I refuse as a coach to if we lose, talk about what the wrong that people do. Because in this world, we all need improvement. We all need improvement. I will not talk about what we haven't done wrong, what we've done wrong. Win or lose. One of the main things I tell my kids during a game, or the main thing I tell my kids after a game is, listen, it may not have gone right, but I'm proud of you no matter what. See, oftentimes as coaches, we are so quick. Oftentimes as a coach, you know, if you're a coach of any sport, you want to tell the people that you're coaching all of the wrong things that they did. You want to tell them that. But I wanted to take a different approach and keep the energy high in the room, in the locker room, in the gym, and give them motivation to work even harder each and every practice. Okay? By telling them, listen, we're only getting better. Win or lose, it doesn't matter how bad we won, how much we won by, or how much we lost by. Because I'm an energy enthusiast. I'm about making sure that the room is positive at all times. That they're not walking around with their heads down because they lost. Yeah, come on. This is for my coach. This is for people that are wanting to go into coaching. Make sure that the room that you have, that the group of kids that you have, that you make sure that you are telling them how much you're proud of them, no matter what happened, that they worked hard. Because by telling them that how hard they work, and telling them, we all need improvement, things happen, and telling them, there's a lot of things that we could not control. Like when another team that we play they're just hitting every shot they put up. Or in any other thing. You tell them about the improvements, not the negatives. We need to improve on this, and we will improve on this. Don't tell them what they're not doing. Tell them what they can do and they will do. Because they carry that mindset. They carry what you say. See, young athletes, and I know I'm talking about something, but this still has to have everything to do with it. See, young athletes have to, they need to understand, they're impressionable. So they carry every word that you say. So make sure that your words and the energy that you bring is positive at all times. Make sure you're doing that. Make sure that the energy that you have when you do anything is positive. And make sure that you don't have people around you who choose to be negative. Who choose to be cynical. To choose to have bad energy. Man, if you could imagine all of the things God has blocked us from. God blocked for us. Telling you, this is the season to block people in real life that don't value peace, that choose violence. Not physical violence, but they just choose to be cynical and angry and negative, pessimistic all the time. This is the season to block people in real life that don't want to see you win. Don't want to see people around them win. They barely want to see themselves win. It's time to block people in real life who take and take and take and take and take and don't give. It's time to block people in real life whose main focus is to make sure that you never get where you need to get. So I encourage you going into Wednesday, build your physical block list. Do some inventory, and you hear me talk about inventory and inspection all the time. We have to do some evaluation of the people that we are around. And if they're in our circle, but they're not in our corner, they're not supportive, they're not positive. They're not in a place where they are holding us accountable. Not being cynical, but being accountable. Not being obtuse, but being accountable. Then it's time to block them in real life. Blocking them in 3D. We can no longer just block people on social media. No. We have to learn how to block people in real life. Will it take some time? Absolutely. God knows it takes some time. It's going to take some time. Psst, you kidding me? Took me years to be able to just go, I can't do this. I'm not going back to that. I can't talk to them anymore. I can't deal with them. How such and such? I hope they're doing well. I haven't talked to them in years. I'm not trying to talk to them. It's not a bad thing, not out of jealousy. It's just I have to protect my energy in this season. How such and such? Don't know. Hope they're doing well. I encourage you going into your midweek to learn the value of protecting your energy and blocking people in real life. Hey, listen, thank you for joining the show today. Don't forget to follow the show page and my personal page. The show page is 22_podcast. That is 22_podcast on Instagram. And my personal page at AlexJ_live. That is AlexJ_live. Please don't forget the 22 podcast has merch. That's on 22apparel.threadless.com. That is 22apparel.threadless.com. See you soon.